טוב וברוכים הבאים לטקס הענקת פרס בוני ציון העשירי על שם סילבן אדמס של ארגון נפש בנפש. ברצוני לקדם בברכה את שר העלייה והקליטה, חבר הכנסת אופיר סופר, יושב ראש ועדת העלייה, הקליטה והתפוצות, חבר הכנסת עודד פורר, מנכ"ל משרד העלייה והקליטה אביחי כהנא, סמנכ"ל העלייה והקליטה בסוכנות היהודית שי פלבר, נותן חסות הפרס מר סילבן אדמס, המייסדים המשותפים של נפש בנפש מר טוני גלברט והרב יהושע פס, חברי ועדת השיפוט הנכבדים וזוכי פרס בוני ציון בעבר ובהווה, אורחים ואורחות, בני ובנות משפחה יקרים. השנה האחרונה הביאה ועודנה מביאה עמה אתגרים רבים שהעמידו את עם ישראל ואת יהדות התפוצות כולה בבחינה עצמית מחודשת של הקשר ביניהם וחשיבותה של מדינת ישראל וביטחונה בעיני יהודי התפוצות. מיד עם פרוץ המלחמה, נפש ונפש נאלצו להתמקד בתגבור שירותי העלייה והתמיכה בעולים, ועל כן הוחלט לדחות את טקס בוני ציון לשנת 2023. ובכן, אני מתרגשת לפתוח את טקס בוני ציון המאוחד לשנים 2023 ו-2024, שבו יוענקו פרסים ל-12 עולים מעוררי השראה, באמת מעוררי השראה, שכמונו חיכו בסבלנות רבה לקיום טקס זה, ועל כך נאמר שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. קיום האירוע בימים האלה אינו קל. ברצוננו לשלוח מילות חיזוק ותמיכה למשפחות החטופים ולמפונים הרבים בצפון ובדרום. אנחנו מתפללים מכל הלב לשובם של 101 החטופים והחטופות בעזה, החיים למשפחותיהם וקהילותיהם והחללים לקבר ישראל. אנחנו מתפללים לשלומם של כל חיילי צה"ל וכוחות הביטחון שעושים ימים כלילות בשמירה על ביטחון מדינתנו בחזיתות השונות. אי אפשר שלא להזכיר היום את הבשורה שקיבלנו יחד עם בני משפחתו של עומר נאוטרה. בשורה באמת קשה. עומר, זכרו לברכה, נפל ב7 באוקטובר וגופתו מוחזקת בעזה. עומר עלה לארץ בסיוע נפש בנפש והוא שירת כחייל בודד. אנחנו כולנו כמובן מתפללים הלוואי וישוב אלינו במהרה יחד עם כל החטופים והחטופות. פרס בוני ציון נוסד על ידי ארגון נפש בנפש על מנת להוקיר את ההישגים הבאמת יוצאי דופן של עולים ממדינות דוברות אנגלית ולהכיר בתרומתם האדירה למדינת ישראל. עם צמיחתה המתמשכת של העלייה ממדינות המערב, עולים דוברי אנגלית משפיעים השפעה עצומה על מדינת ישראל, בכלכלה, ברפואה, בחברה ובתרבות, ותורמים לחברה הישראלית בכל תחומי החיים האפשריים. ארגון נפש בנפש פועל בשיתוף עם משרד העלייה והקליטה, הסוכנות היהודית, קרן קיימת לישראל ו-JNF ארצות הברית. מאז הקמתו בשנת 2002 העלה הארגון למעלה מ-85,000 עולים חדשים מצפון אמריקה, כולל בעלי, אז תודה רבה לכם. 3 ילדים חמודים, אז באמת תודה. הארגון הוקם על מנת להפיח חיים חדשים בעלייה לישראל מצפון אמריקה. עם השנים החזון של הארגון גדל והתפתח למרחבים חדשים ולאוכלוסיות מגוונות, ובכך הוא עסוק במציאת פתרונות לאתגרים לאומיים, ברפואה, בביטחון, ביישוב הפריפריה ובחינוך לציונות, כל זה בזכות עוצמתה של העלייה. אני מתכבדת להזמין את מייסד שותף ומנכ"ל נפש בנפש, הרב יהושע פס, מוביל יחד עם טוני גלברט את הארגון ומחנך לשילוב של ערכים ציוניים ומצוינות מקצועית בפעילותו היומיומית. הרב פס, בבקשה.
Erev Tov. Good evening. It is a true privilege to welcome you to this year's Sylvan Adams Nefesh B'Nefesh Bonei Zion Award Ceremony, a moment where we come together as a community to honor the visionaries, the builders, the dreamers who have dedicated themselves to the cause of strengthening and preserving the state of Israel. This evening we celebrate those whose unwavering commitment and deep love for the land of Israel have made an indelible mark on the Jewish people. We welcome our distinguished guests, Minister of Aliyah Klita, Ophir Sofer, member of the Knesset and head of Adat Aliyah Kita, Oded Foyo, Mankal of Misad Aliyah Kita, Yehezkel Caine, hero of the Jewish people, and probably one of our first supporters since 2002, Natan Sharansky, chairman of Nefesh, Tony Gelbart. We welcome as well our past Bonei Zion recipients, respected members of the Bonei Zion Prize Committee, family and friends of our awardees, Nefesh staff, and we acknowledge and salute the sponsor of the Bonei Zion Prize, Sylvan Adams. Sylvan, you have sponsored the Bonei Zion Award to celebrate the unparalleled, sophisticated, and dynamic achievements that are ongoing in our miraculous state of Israel. Thank you for your friendship, your warmth, and your continued support. And of course, Achron Chaviv, we welcome the reason why we're here for this special occasion, our distinguished Bonei Zion honorees. Every facet of our Israeli society, our communities, our culture, our educational system, our healthcare, our spiritual well-being, and our security have all been influenced by the individuals who are being honored here today. We owe each and every one of our honorees our deepest hakarat hatov. We are grateful for your accomplishments, appreciative of your contributions, and inspired by your selfless commitment to the state of Israel. We wish each and every one of you a mazal tov. As we gather here tonight, we are acutely aware that the state of Israel is facing one of the most challenging times in its history. This has been an excruciating year. The pain of these times cannot be quantified by numbers alone. It's something that can only be understood through the raw and unspoken anguish of those living through it. Our hearts and prayers throughout this year have been focused on our soldiers on the front lines, hundreds of families living with uncertainty, and for our brothers and sisters enduring unimaginable pain and captivity. This past year has brought us heartbreak and profound loss. Yet, we continue to rise and hold on to hope. In the midst of all of this pain, there is also a remarkable strength. Despite the challenges we face, we have proven, constantly, consistently demonstrated that even in our darkest moments, our spirit can endure, remain hopeful, and rebuild. Rebuild. The phrase Bonei Zion, builders of Zion, is a timeless call to action, a challenge to each of us to engage not only with our words, but with our deeds in the construction of the state of Israel. It speaks to those who have worked tirelessly in every possible way to make Israel a place of strength, a beacon of hope, and a home for the Jewish people. Tonight's honorees exemplify this spirit in the most profound way. They are men and women who, through their vision, leadership, and dedication, have contributed to Israel's growth, security, and global influence. They are individuals who understand that Israel's future depends not just on physical infrastructure, but on the hearts and minds of those who invest in it, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. As we celebrate the honorees tonight, let us remember that we are all part of this incredible mission. The contributions that we are witnessing here tonight are not just about the past, but about the future. Each of us, in our own way, is called to be a boneh, a builder, a creator, a person who makes a difference in the lives of others and the destiny of our people. Tonight is a reminder that our actions matter, that the steps we take today will be felt by future generations. We stand on the shoulders who built the state of Israel, and it is our responsibility to continue their work, to build it further, to strengthen it, and to ensure that it remains a place where every Jew can find a home, a place of safety, and a fulfillment of destiny. Today we are celebrating innovators, leaders, educators, healers, champions of noble causes, remarkable individuals with extraordinary accomplishments, Olim who could be assured of the impact and virtue of their actions. We wish all of the Bonei Zion honorees continued bracha, tzlacha, briut, and sipuk nefesh, health, success, blessings, and continued reward and satisfaction in all that you do. In conclusion, as the Navi Nehemiah the prophet Nehemiah writes, "V'ashiv otam davar v'omar lehem Elohei hashamayim hu yatziach lanu v'anachnu avadav nakum uvaninu." We pray to God for safeguarding and success, and we as people commit to rise and further build. May we pray and merit the return of all of our hostages, safety of our soldiers, and the ultimate triumph of peace and security for the state of Israel. Adonai oz damo yitein, Adonai yivorech et amo b'shalom. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much. תודה רבה לרב פס. כעת אני מתכבדת להזמין לבמה את כבוד שר העלייה והקליטה, אופיר סופר, שמיומו הראשון בתפקיד הפך לשותף אמת של הארגון, שדואג לשים את חשיבות העלייה לישראל בכלל ומארצות המערב בפרט על ראש סדר היום הציבורי. כבוד השר, בבקשה.
שלום, ערב טוב לכולם. מר טוני גילברט, היושב ראש, הרב פס, חבר הכנסת פורר, יושב ראש ועדת עלייה והקליטה, מר נתן שרנסקי, וידידי הפילנטרופ סילבן אדמס. ומקבלי הפרס העיקריים. חשבתי על מה אני הולך לדבר איתכם. והאם עד כמה חלוקת הפרס הזו, כמה היא תופסת בציבוריות הישראלית. אנחנו מדברים פה על דברים טובים, וכמה זה יפתח את הכותרות. ובעצם אני רוצה לדבר קצת על הסדר יום הישראלי. ישבנו לפני כשעתיים, טוני ואני, ודיברנו על איך שלמרות המלחמה שפוקדת את עם ישראל בשנה האחרונה, בשנה פלוס, בכל אופן אנחנו רואים שמספר העולים הולך וגדל. שמספר העולים הולך וגדל בניגוד לטבע, בניגוד לכל מציאות אחרת שהיא סבירה. ועד כמה שבשנה האחרונה, לצערי, כשאנחנו נפגשים עם דמויות הנופלים, אנחנו פתאום שומעים על הסיפור הכל כך מיוחד של כל אחד ואחד מהם. ואם במציאות של שגרה היינו אומרים שהקדוש ברוך הוא ירד לקטוף שושנים, אז כאן אנחנו רואים שבשנה האחרונה הקדוש ברוך הוא ירד לקטוף חממות, ובאמת כל אחד ואחד הוא פרח. ולמה בסדר יום הכללי של מדינת ישראל אנחנו פחות מצליחים לראות את הטוב של כל אחד ואחד שיושב כאן באולם, שאנחנו פוגשים אותו בתחנת האוטובוס, שאנחנו פוגשים אותו ברחוב, או שיושבים איתו על איזושהי פגישת עבודה. אני אולי זכיתי להיות שר העלייה והקליטה בשנים האלו, וזה באמת סוג של פריבילגיה, שמתעסקת בדברים הטובים, שמתעסקת בטוב, שמתעסקת בלהביא עוד ועוד יהודים לארץ הזו. אבל אין לי ספק שאם נדע לבנות סדר יום חיובי, סדר יום פוזיטיבי, סדר יום שעוסק באתגרים הגדולים שיש לנו לעשות כאן בארץ הזו, ויש לנו אתגרים גדולים, גם אתגרים ביטחוניים, אבל לא רק. המון אתגרים חברתיים שנוצרו, שהעמיקו בעקבות השביעי באוקטובר. אבל אנחנו נדע לעשות את זה אם נייצר סדר יום ציוני, חברתי, אמיתי. אם נדע לפעול ביחד, אם נדע לייצר שותפות ביחד. כן, יש פערים, יש מחלוקות אידיאולוגיות. אנחנו כנראה לא מסכימים על הכל, בטח לא על המהות, ולפעמים גם לא על הדרך. אבל אנחנו מסכימים על הרוב. אנחנו מסכימים על 70-80%. בטח בשנים האלו אפשר לקחת הרבה דברים אחרים ולהוריד אותם למטה בסדר העדיפות. אין לי ספק שדבר כזה ישפיע גם על העלייה. כי עולים שעולים ארצה רוצים להיות חלק מהבניין, רוצים להיות חלק מההתחדשות, הם עולים ארצה בעיקר בגלל סולידריות. מה שעושה הפרס הזה, פרס בוני ציון, הוא לוקח זרקור, והוא מצביע על אותם עולים, על הפעילות העיקרה שלהם. אנחנו אוהבים את העולים ורוצים עולים בארץ בכל מקרה, סוציו-אקונומי כזה וסוציו-אקונומי אחר. אנחנו רוצים שכל יהודי ויהודי יעלה ארצה. אבל אנחנו בוודאי יודעים להוקיר אנשים שתרמו בצורה משמעותית, בין אם זה בחברה, בין אם זה במדע, בין אם זה בהסברה ובכל תחום אחר. ולכן הפרס הזה חשוב, כי הפרס הזה נותן עוד איזה נפח ויוצא עוד איזה אור של תקווה. זה מה שאנחנו צריכים לעשות בשנים הקרובות במדינת ישראל. אני חושב שזה מה שהעם שלנו מצפה מאיתנו, שנהיה חברה כזו, ואני רוצה להגיד תודה רבה על השותפות שאני זוכה, יחד עם המשרד כמובן, לארגון נפש בנפש, שנמשיך לעשות דברים טובים ביחד, ונציב גם יעדים לשנה הקרובה, שרק ילכו ויעלו, ונמשיך לראות את העלייה עולה גם בסדר יום הציבורי וגם בפועל. תודה רבה.
תודה רבה לשר סופר. אנחנו עם חלוקת הפרסים לשנת 2023. מדי שנה ארגון נפש בנפש מקבל מאות מועמדויות לפרס בוני ציון, מה שהופך את תהליך הבחירה של זוכי הפרס בשנה הזאת לקשה במיוחד. בהזדמנות זו הארגון רוצה להודות לחברי ועדת השיפוט של הפרס על שם סילבן אדמס, אשר הקדישו מזמנם וסייעו רבות בבחירת הזוכים. רבים מחברי הוועדה הנוכחים כאן היום, ובשם מקבלי הפרס אנו מלאי הערכה והכרת תודה על המאמצים שלכם. אני מזמינה לבמה את סילבן אדמס, הרב יהושע פס וטוני גלברט להענקת הפרסים. כעת אני מתכבדת להציג את זוכי פרס בוני ציון לשנת 2023. הקטגוריה הראשונה היא התרומה בתחום החינוך. הזוכה לשנת 2023 היא סלי רידמן, מייסדת נשיאת מכללת רידמן. מכללת רידמן לרפואה משלימה ואינטגרטיבית, שהינה חלוצה ופורצת דרך בתחום הרפואה המשלימה במדינת ישראל.
I'm the founder and president of Reidman College for Complementary and Integrative Medicine. I made Aliyah from Los Angeles. I went on a trip to Israel and I walked down the stairs, and when my feet touched the earth, I started to cry. Tears started coming down my cheeks and I felt goosebumps. I knew in that instant, this is where I'm supposed to be, for what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. I was in university studying psychology, and I heard about something called Rolfing, which is a kind of body psychotherapy. So I signed up for it. When I took the massage class, I found I loved it. I loved the way they responded, the love that they gave me back. I developed it further, and I became a massage therapist with the emphasis on emotional release through the deep touch of the body. One of my clients asked me if I would teach her to do what I was doing. So I made the class. I hired someone to teach some Tai Chi. I hired a medical student to teach the anatomy physiology. Before you know it, I had a little school going. Reidman College is covering the width and breadth of the country. We have 4 campuses. We do touch therapy, and also we're very, very big in the area of naturopathy, nutrition, herbal medicine, Chinese medicine. Mechlelet Reidman is the TCM Education Center of Israel-China cooperation. So it's very proud for me. We have about 30,000 graduates. Every year we have about 3,500 students. We've been instrumental in changing the way that medicine has evolved in Israel. And especially since October 7th, the demand for therapists of what we call refuah mashlima just skyrocketed. People want to be touched. They want to feel that they're alive. Our students and our graduates started volunteering all over, and with every organization possible. People are having a profound healing through our graduates, and I feel that it's an extension of my mission, that they're helping me fulfill my mission of healing ourselves, healing the planet. And it makes me really, really, really proud to be able to receive such a recognition for really my life work. It's outstanding. I only wish that my mother was here because I know she would be so proud. As a second generation, a Holocaust survivor living in Israel, and then to receive such a recognition, it's more than touching to me.
איזו מרגשת. אני מתכבדת להזמין את סלי רידמן לקבלת פרס. מזל טוב, סלי. בקטגוריית המדע והרפואה, הזוכה לשנת 2023 הוא פרופסור קרמי מרגלי, דיקן מייסד של בית הספר לרפואה בינלאומית באוניברסיטת בן גוריון שבנגב, שמאז היווסדו ועד היום הכשיר דורות של צעירים וצעירות מרחבי העולם כרופאים שהשתלבו במערכת הבריאות הישראלית והעולמית.
We made Aliyah in September of 1975 with 3 children, 2 more girls born in Israel. All of them are now married and have their own families. I graduated medical school at New York University, finished my pediatric residency at Yale 3 years later, and then I did a degree in educational psychology at Michigan State University. I went into the United States Army for 2 years as a pediatrician, and then we made Aliyah. I was actually brought to Beersheba when the Faculty of Medicine at BGU was being founded. Because of my background, I was very quickly appointed as a senior lecturer in pediatrics. When I came to Beersheba, there wasn't much around. I immediately started working both as a consultant to community clinics and at Soroka in pediatrics. In '79, we established the Department of Health in the community, and in '98 we opened the Medical School for International Health. Professor Richard Deckelbaum was my partner in getting the school started. I was the founding dean of the school. It was established as a partnership with Columbia. The program, which has always been taught by the same faculty that teaches the 6-year Israeli medical school, but all of the teaching has always been done in English, and the curriculum is only 4 years. Our program, since it was focused on global health, accepted students from anywhere, and we did have students from many different countries. I had terrific people working with me and other administrative people, which if there was more time, I would name them one by one. I'm very grateful that the organization has seen fit to recognize my contributions in these areas of medical education, global health education, and medical decision making, and I appreciate it very much.
איזו חלוציות. אני מתכבדת בזאת להזמין את פרופסור מרגלית לקבלת הפרס. מזל טוב, פרופסור מרגלית. בקטגוריית הפעילות ההתנדבותית, הזוכה לשנת 2023 היא שרי מנדס, מייסדת ומנכ"לית קרן לימונדה ישראל, ששמה לה למטרה להקל על הנטל הכלכלי של נשים המאובחנות עם סרטן השד.
I'm the founder and director of the Israel Lemonade Fund. In 2003, my husband David and I brought our 4 children and made Aliyah. I studied architecture at a graduate level and worked for many years. I was having a very busy life. All of a sudden, I went for a routine mammogram in 2010, and I went from being a regular person to being a cancer patient. During that year, I saw how expensive it was to be sick. I was seeing people in the waiting rooms where I was being treated, and I was thinking, how do the poorest people do this? How do you worry about paying the bills while you're terrified about just surviving? A year to the day later of that mammogram, I decided to hold a big event, and I invited everyone I ever met in Israel, and I said, this is what happened to me last year, and I made an invitation that was full of lemons, and I said, life has given me lemons. I was really sick this past year. It was my 50th birthday. We're going to make lemonade together. And after that, the Lemonade Fund was launched. Since 2011, we've been able to give hundreds of thousands, even millions of shekels in grants to needy cancer patients. We eventually grew to become an independent Amutah. We expanded to almost every hospital, to all the Kupot Olim. When COVID hit, we partnered with Get Taxi, and for 4 months, while public transportation was shut down, we supplied almost 3,000 free taxi rides to sick cancer patients. Way too soon, suddenly we're in a war after October 7th. The Lemonade Fund said, well, what about cancer patients? What about the people who were not able to get to their treatment center? They left without their papers. They left without money. What should we do? So we raised extra money. By October 18th, we had a war grants program. I'm so proud of this country, especially over the past year. We love this country, and I cannot imagine not living here. And it's the pride of my life that we have had the zechut, the right, to move here and live here and grow. Never expected this, to receive the Sylvan Nefesh Bonei Zion Award. You're giving me such an opportunity to spread the word to people about what we do. So I'm humbly very, very grateful to you. So thank you.
איזו עשייה מרגשת. אני מתכבדת להזמין את שרי מנדס לקבלת הפרס. ברכות, שרי. בקטגוריית התרבות, האומנות והספורט, הזוכה לשנת 2023 הוא פיטר קורץ, מנכ"ל האגודה הישראלית לבייסבול והמאמן המקצועי של הנבחרת הישראלית והאולימפית, ששם את ישראל על מפת הבייסבול העולמית.
I'm the CEO of the Israel Association of Baseball, and on my paying jobs, I also happen to be an expert in exports and marketing. Born in New York to parents who came from Europe. We actually came in 1967, right after the Six-Day War. I went back to New York as a 10-year-old kid, totally overwhelmed. My whole wall was filled with Moshe Dayan and Kol HaKavod L'Tzahal. When I was 12 years old, the amazing New York Mets won the World Series. And I think those two experiences is exactly why I'm here today and why I've been living in Israel for the last 30 years. I made Aliyah in my 20s, came here to study as well, to do my master's degree. I met the woman who's my wife today. I have 3 grown adult children who have their own children right now, and we're trying to get the grandchildren out to play some baseball. Actually, I went to Miluim, and I heard there for the first time about baseball in Israel. I took my son, I brought him to the Sport Tech in Tel Aviv for the first time. When I got field a guy named Leon Klarfeld, who's the legendary president of the IAB, was the coach at the time. He asked me to help him coach, and that was the start of my career with the IAB. You end up rising very quickly in such a small organization. I became on the board of directors. I was a manager. I was a coach for teams. Quickly, I rose up and I became Secretary General. I was president for 6 years after that. So with the WBC in 2016, we had a very strong team, and we came in 6th place. In 2018, after the European Championship, the IOC announced that baseball was coming back to the Olympics in 2020. And in 2019, we went to 4 different tournaments, and we won the Olympic qualifiers. And in 2021, we went to Tokyo, Japan, to play in the Olympic Games, one of 6 teams in the world. And it was also the first time that an Israel ball team had ever won a game in the Olympics. And that was an incredible event, an incredible thing for the IAB to be part of, an incredible thing for Israel baseball and for the Israel Olympic Committee as well. We have over 1,000 players playing baseball in Israel. I'm now working to get baseball stronger in Israel. Our main goal right now is to get back in the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028. My contribution to Israel baseball and the achievements that Israel baseball has done over the years have really cemented my legacy as a person who's come and done something for the country of Israel. When I got the notice that I was receiving the Sylvan Adams Nefesh B'Nefesh Bonei Zion Award, I was overwhelmed. I really think that Bonei Zion is important because I see myself as somebody who built Zion. And it's important, and that's what we're trying to put in the new generation. That's why we're trying to get more kids to make Aliyah and more people to make Aliyah. And I think baseball and sports is extremely important for that achievement.
אנחנו על המפה. אני מתכבדת בזאת להזמין את פיטר קורץ לקבלת הפרס. מזל טוב, פיטר. בקטגוריית גלובל אימפקט, הזוכה לשנת 2023 הוא סגן אלוף במילואים דני גרוסמן, יושב ראש מרכז ההכשרה למיומנויות גוף נפש בישראל המעניק כלים לאוכלוסיות שונות בהתמודדות עם פוסט-טראומה.
I made Aliyah in 1979. I spent my junior year at Hebrew University, where I like to say I fell in love with the country and with my wife-to-be. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary. And I knew that I wanted to come to Israel, but I knew I had nothing to offer. So I went back to the States, enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, learned how to fly all the while on something which would be valuable to Israel. So I got involved in Phantoms. And 2 weeks after I made Aliyah with my family, I was already flying from Tel Nof in Phantoms. Only 2 years after making Aliyah, I got selected to fly a long-range mission to Iraq, and we flew the mission, and we ended up getting the Air Force Commander's Medal, and that basically paved the way for a beautiful Air Force career. I was privileged to keep flying for over 20 years, and immediately afterwards I was able to do things which continued my idealistic view of life, and I took what I had learned in the military and I applied it to civilian life. I was head of the American Jewish Congress. I became the first mentor of the Space IL, the Bereshit moon launch. I knew this would have an impact on the way world Jewry comes together. On the 8th of October, as I looked forward and I said, what Israeli society is really going to need over the next 10, 20, 30 years is the incredible need to help people with post-traumatic stress disorder. I became the chairman of a wonderful organization called the Center for Mind-Body Medicine, and we've had amazing sessions with people from Be'eri, from Kfar Aza, the soldiers, the bereaved parents, helping them to begin to deal with PTSD. I see this as a major challenge for Israeli society. I'm extremely proud that I still have the ability to make an impact on today's young cadre of pilots. I'm very honored to receive the Sylvan Adams Nefesh B'Nefesh Bonei Zion Award because it gives recognition, not just to me, but it gives inspiration for others to follow in these footsteps and to do things also which will make a difference. Perhaps the proudest achievement of my life is the fact that Lisa and I have 4 amazing children, 8 gorgeous grandchildren, And all of them have been imbued with the same sense of vision, of drive, of making a contribution to the state of Israel, and by so, to the greater Jewish people.
להצדיע. אני מתכבדת להזמין לבמה לקבלת הפרס את דני גרוסמן. תודה רבה, דני. פרס המנהיגות הצעירה בשנת 2023 מוענק לאמילי שריידר, עיתונאית ופעילת זכויות אדם שנלחמת בכל פלטפורמה אפשרית למען מדינת ישראל בזירה הבינלאומית.
I made Aliyah in 2015 from Los Angeles, California. So my background is in politics and more specifically in political campaigns. So it actually lined up very nicely to help support Israel through the digital front, dealing with anti-Semitism and anti-Israel disinformation and misinformation on social media. I have a fiance, Yusuf Haddad, also a major activist. I experienced a lot of anti-Semitism on campus in California, and that's where I first interacted with this phenomenon of anti-Israel. I was very involved in campus pushing back against that, and after that I started working with Stand With Us. And during that time was when I started working as a columnist with Jerusalem Post as well. But when I saw what was happening with how people speak about Israel, especially in the international media, and the fact that there aren't a lot of people who are communicating to foreign audiences about what Israel is and what we're facing, I saw that there was a need and it was something that I really wanted to pursue. So I also started contributing as a correspondent for Ynet, as a writer. And then, of course, most recently, I have been working as a news anchor for ILTV News. And during these very, very difficult days since October 7th, it's been incredibly rewarding, but incredibly challenging. I did the broadcast on October 8th. I did the broadcast after 100 days of captivity for the hostages. I remember the first week I couldn't get through a broadcast without crying. There's no words to describe it. I founded the Iranian-Israeli Women's Alliance, which is a group of women from actually all over the Middle East. I founded this organization because it was really important to me to highlight and elevate not only women's voices in the Middle East, but the coalition that's building between Iranians and Israelis. I have almost 70,000 followers who are based inside of Iran on social media. And to hear their stories and to hear what they say about Israel, it really gives me a lot of hope. And I've been able to meet a lot of really, really interesting people. I've been able to lobby on very important issues that help the state of Israel and, of course, help the Iranian people. I think one of the most rewarding things for me in all of my activities that I do as an individual activist or as a journalist, I have been able to raise a lot of awareness. I am so honored to be receiving the Sylvan Nefesh Bonei Zion Award along with such incredible people. I think it's such a privilege that we live in a time that we have the ability to come to Israel and to make a life here and to be a part of building and growing this incredible, diverse nation.
אני מתכבדת בזאת להזמין את ביילי סטאר שתקבל את הפרס בשם אמילי שלצערנו בשל התחייבויות קודמות לא יכולה להיות כאן הערב. ביילי, בבקשה. תודה. פרס מפעל החיים מוענק השנה לדוקטור יחזקאל קיין, נשיא המרכז הרפואי הרצוג, שאינו מודל לחיקוי והערצה על פעילותו רבת השנים בתחום הרפואה בישראל.
We made Aliyah in 1959 from London My parents came. I came with two brothers, and basically Jerusalem has been my home ever since. I'm married to Susan, and we have three lovely children, 3 grandchildren. I'm a surgeon by training. I've been running the Yehezkel Hospital for the last almost 30 years. I was in Jerusalem for the outbreak of the Six-Day War. I was called as a medic. Went back to school, started my medical training, just in time to finish with the outbreak of the Yom Kippur War. We all went back into the army on active duty, spent the next few months in uniform. After the war, went back as a doctor to the Air Force, and went to Kurz and continued as a pilot, in parallel to being a doctor, and went back to Hadassah to train as a surgeon. In the meantime, I'd gone off to the States to do specialized training in aviation medicine, and continued until I was the chief medical officer of the Air Force. I finished in 95 and found myself here. The hospital was established 130 years ago as the first psychiatric hospital in the Middle East. Today, the focus of the hospital is in 4 major categories of patients. We have the mental health, the second is rehabilitation, the third major area is respiratory care, patients on ventilators, and the fourth major area is, of course, the geriatrics. The war was a big challenge. Immediately, already on the Shabbat, we received phone calls from hospitals, primarily in the south, to transfer here patients to vacate their intensive care beds. You have the staff that are called off from Miluim. Many of the staff are also women whose husbands had been called up. So we actually opened a kindergarten here. Everyone pulled together. It was amazing to see it. Olim bring a tremendous benefit to this country. The country was built by Olim. I think it's important to encourage Olim to show what can be done, what an Olim can do. So I felt very honored when I was called and told that I was to receive the Sylvan Nefesh Bonei Zion Award. I'm very proud of what we've achieved here. This was a tremendous honor. Thank you.
איזה איש. להענקת פרס מפעל חיים אני מתכבדת להזמין את מייסד שותף ויושב ראש נפש בנפש מר טוני גלברט, שמקדיש את זמנו מרצו להבאת יהודים ארצה והגשמת החלום הציוני. מר גלברט, בבקשה.
Just a little nostalgia for a minute. This is our 10th anniversary of Bonei Zion, and I'm not surprised, but I'm really amazed at all the different people with all their qualities and what they've done to help build the state of Israel. It's really humbling to be on the stage and just hand prizes out these amazing people. But Dr. Yehezkel Caine, he's a recipient of the 2013 Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Caine has led an extraordinary career that has spanned medicine, aviation, and leadership, leaving a legacy that few can match. He was a pioneer in aerospace medicine and a leader in Israel's healthcare system. His contributions have had a lasting impact on countless lives. Dr. Caine's commitment to advancing knowledge and improving care exemplifies a lifetime of dedication. He built up Herzog Medical Center for 26 years and succeeded in turning it into a leading facility for geriatrics, respiratory medicine, psychiatry, and mental health and rehabilitation. I'm honored to present you, Dr. Yehezkel Caine, with the Sylvan Adams Nefesh B'Nefesh Bonei Zion Lifetime Achievement Award for 2023.
כבוד גדול לנו, דוקטור קיין. באמת אנשים כל כך מרגשים. ועכשיו, זוכה הפרס לשנת 2024. אני מתכבדת להציג את זוכי פרס בוני ציון לשנת 2024, מוקדשת לפעילותם במהלך מלחמת חרבות ברזל. בקטגוריית המדע והרפואה, הזוכה לשנת 2024 היא דוקטור דברה גרשוב ווסט, מנהלת המחלקה לרפואה דחופה בבית החולים אסותא אשדוד, שמחזיקה בתפקיד מפתח קריטי ברפואת החירום בעיר הדרומית.
I made Aliyah from Melbourne, Australia in 1994 with my husband. Have since had 4 children. I was brought up Zionistic from day one. So as soon as I finished my medical training, my first year of residency there, my husband and I came on Aliyah. I started in pediatrics and later in internal medicine. I actually always wanted to do emergency medicine. That was my dream from the moment I finished medicine. But it didn't exist in Israel in 1994. In 2002, emergency medicine became a specialty. And for the last 20 years, I've been an emergency medicine specialist. When this hospital opened up, they approached me and I sat with Professor Britton, who was the head of the hospital at the time, and I said to him, I want to do emergency medicine the way it's done in the Anglo-American model. It's basically the emergency department is staffed full-time, exclusively by emergency medicine physicians and nurses. I'm positive that we've saved a lot of lives by the presence of a senior doctor. The 7th of October was my shift, so I was on my way to work, saw the siren, not knowing obviously, like everybody else, it was anything more than that. And around the same time we got our first wounded, and then realised there was something more. This wasn't filant. We treated so many injured patients while continuing to manage a department full of routine patients. I remember the shouts and the cry. My job was to manage it, which means I didn't touch a single patient. But at the same time, I reminded everybody these are victims of trauma. Talk to them, just think about what they've gone through. And we didn't have any room, we didn't allow any place for our emotions. It hit us much later. It hit on Tuesday night, because I was here until Tuesday night. I didn't go home. And I remember then I crashed. That's when I crashed and just realised the enormity of the Aurora. On the 12th of October, a doctor I know called me up and said, listen, everybody's being called up. We're getting training, but we need more. And I thought, thank God, I've been given an opportunity to help. And we just started going anywhere we were called, up north, down south, and we've been going ever since. It's got bigger and bigger. We've now got a name. We call ourselves Frontline Emergency Medicine. It's basically a mobile simulation and workshop training unit. We train medics and paramedics and doctors and nurses, so we train them to perfection. Because when you get that opportunity to save a life, you have to save a life. It's emotionally exhausting, seeing the soldiers coming in, seeing the wounded, seeing the dead, seeing the families, or seeing the soldier and knowing that the families don't know yet. It's very, very, very difficult, but I want to be part of it. I want to be the person who can make any difference that I can make, even if it's a very, very small one. So receiving the Sylvan Adams Nefesh Bonei Zion Award was a real honour, and hopefully it will be an inspiration. I'm just doing my best like everybody else, and I'm very proud, not of myself, I'm proud of everybody around me. This is the place to be. This is the place to be, and this is the time to be here. Everything we do makes a difference.
מילים. אני מתכבדת בזאת להזמין את דוקטור גרשוב ווסט לקבלת הפרס. איזו אישה אדירה, מזל טוב. בקטגוריית הפעילות ההתנדבותית, הזוכה לשנת 2024 היא פיליס חיימוביץ, מייסדת עמותת הותיר אחריו חברה, שיצרה שינוי תפיסתי עצום ביחס לבנות ובני הזוג של חללי צה"ל.
My husband Yehezkel Caine were born in the United States in New York in 1967 when we heard that the 6-day war broke out. We made a promise to each other that we would go on Aliyah. A year and 4 months later, we went on Aliyah. We have 3 children. We have 12 grandchildren. Our youngest daughter, Michal, was to marry Avi Buk. He knew Michali since the 1st grade, and they fell in love. Avi was an officer in the Israel Defense Forces. On September 7th, 1997, there was a battle in Lebanon, and a rocket fell right next to him and killed him. Michali was crushed and devastated. Her entire world collapsed. We turned to the Ministry of Defense and the Army, we were told that the girlfriends are not part of the nuclear family of the soldier and therefore not eligible for help. We would have to do it ourselves. And so we founded the organization, He Left Behind a Girlfriend. The Amutah puts them in a support group where they are allowed to cry, to scream, to wear the boyfriend's clothing, to grieve. In addition to the support groups, we have many activities for them to help them relax. Since the war, everything has changed. The Amutah grew enormously. From 1997, we took care of approximately 500 bereaved girlfriends and boyfriends. Since October 7th, there are already 326 bereaved boyfriends and girlfriends. And the number keeps rising almost daily. The older girlfriends in the Amutah, they are now volunteering to help the new bereaved girlfriends and boyfriends. They can, in time, heal. They do heal. Michali has a normal life now. She has a husband, she has children. And that is the function of the Amutah. Now, more than ever, I'm deeply moved and honored to receive this prize. I'm very proud of the Amutah. And I'm proud of the bereaved girlfriends and boyfriends. They are wonderful. They're trying so hard to make their lives go on. And they are there for each other forever and ever. We changed history.
זה כבוד ענק להזמין את פיליס חיימוביץ לבמה. פיליס, את מדהימה. בקטגוריית גלובל אימפקט, הזוכה לשנת 2024 הוא אילון לוי, ראש משרד דוברות אזרחי ישראל. מיזם פורץ יבשות בעל חשיבות עצומה לתדמית של ישראל ורחבי העולם.
I made Aliyah in the summer of 2014 from the UK. A difficult summer started with hostage-taking and the murder of hostages, a war that saw rockets on the home front, a wave of anti-Semitism around the world. And when I finished my master's degree at Cambridge, I said I want to play my part and take my share of the burden. So I got on a plane on the last day of the war to enlist straight in the army. It's been 10 years since I made Aliyah from the UK. First I served in the army and then I went straight into media. I was the chief news anchor for IBA News. From there I24 News, and then I was very excited and privileged to work for President Herzog in the first 2 years of his term as his international media advisor. When the October 7th war started and everyone in Israeli society asked, how can I help us win this war and bring the hostages home? For me, it was obvious that I had to use my communication skills and to be on the front lines of that media war, defending the state of Israel in our darkest hour. I started giving interviews from my living room as a private citizen, and in a very surreal twist of events, found myself within a week behind a lectern that said Prime Minister's Office on it, giving interviews as an official government spokesman. After that, I decided to set up my own non-profit to continue the media war from civil society. It's the Israeli Citizen Spokesperson's Office. This is an operation driven by Anglo-Olim from the UK, from the US, from Canada, especially from Australia, who all understand the importance of us as English speakers using our voices to speak up for Israel and the Jewish people. My social media has exploded since the beginning of the October 7th war. Social media is a platform that gives me a voice independently of the traditional media. If I want to get the message out to a broad audience, I don't need to get invited on television. And so as I'm giving interviews and making the case for Israel, I'm also learning how to create funny and entertaining content as well, and to learn how to adapt every message for the right audience in a way that will grab people's attention and make them want to continue listening. Obviously, it's a huge privilege to be awarded the Sylvan Nefesh Bonei Zion Prize. Anglo immigrants have played an outsized role in Binyan Zion, in building the land of Israel since mandate times. Young Olim need to know people are creative, people are flexible, and if you have enough drive and enough skill, you will find your place and be able to push yourself into the right places where you can get ahead and thrive and flourish.
אני גאה להזמין את האיש, הכוכב והגבות, אילון לוי. יישר כוח, אילון. ההסברה הישראלית קיבלה השנה יותר מאי פעם חשיבות עליונה. ולכן הוחלט להעניק פרס בקטגוריה מיוחדת זו לפלר חסן נחום, שליחה מיוחדת מטעם משרד החוץ על פעילותה ותרומתה האדירה בשנה החולפת להסברה הישראלית.
I've been a Zionist from a very young age. The first time I came to Israel, I was 14 years old, and I knew I would live here. I knew I would make my family, and I would build my life here. So I made Aliyah with my husband. We were newly married. We have 4 kids. I'm a trained barrister. When I got to Israel, I started working in non-profit, and I feel that there, I gave a voice to the voiceless. After that, my career evolved into being a communications consultant. So I created my own company, and I used to basically train people to strengthen their voices. And then that evolved to understanding that I also had an opinion, I also had something to say, and I wanted to speak in my own voice. I became involved in local Jerusalem politics. I became a city council member in 2016, and I decided that because I'm an Ola, my real value added in City Hall is trying to talk about Jerusalem in the world and try and bring the world to Jerusalem. In 2018, when I became deputy mayor, the mayor asked me, "What do you want?" And I said to him, "I want to be the foreign minister of Jerusalem." As deputy mayor of Jerusalem in charge of foreign affairs, I was also the international spokesperson for the city of Jerusalem. Whenever there were problems in Jerusalem, I was the person speaking in the foreign media. On October 7th, I realized we're at war, and I saw in real time the ongoing massacre. It was something I'm never going to forget. So the press started to call me. If the press is calling me the deputy mayor of Jerusalem because of something going on in the Gaza envelope, it's because nobody else is answering. God put me here for this moment to explain to the world what is happening right now in real time. And since that morning of October 7th, that's what I've been doing. That's where I feel I create the impact, explaining to the world what happened to us and strengthening our own people, our own allies. My proudest achievement is moving here, having 4 children that were born in Jerusalem, and being able to balance that with meaningful contribution to my city, to my country, and to my people. It's so meaningful to get this prize and say, you know what, not only did you make the right decision, but you've contributed to the country that you chose. And it's a recognition of that choice, which I love.
אני מתכבדת להזמין את שרת החוץ של ירושלים ועוד, פלר חסן נחום, בבקשה. מזל טוב, קלר. אנחנו עוברים לאות הוקרה מיוחד. החל משנת 2021 הוחלט להעניק אות הוקרה מיוחד לדמות מפתח בחברה הישראלית הפועלת לטובת העלייה והקליטה בישראל. השנה אות ההוקרה מוענק למען נתן שרנסקי, אייקון ציוני, כן, מגיע לו. אייקון ציוני, פעיל עלייה מצעירותו שלאורך השנים הקדיש את חייו למען העלייה לישראל והקשר של עם ישראל עם יהודי התפוצות.
I was born in the Soviet Union. There was nothing Jewish in our life, and only when Israel entered our life in 1967, suddenly you realize that you have a history that you want to be part of, and you have a people that they are your family, and you want to go to Israel. And that's what gives you strength to fight, and that's how I became activist of the Zionist movement and human rights movement, spent 9 years in prison, and then came to Israel. My aliyah was very dramatic. In the morning I am in KGB prison, in the evening I am celebrating together with my wife, whom I didn't see for 12 years, and with all the people of Israel near the Kotel. So it's going straight from hell to paradise. Then I spent 9 years in the government, then 9 years in Jewish agency. But in fact, it was the same job, connecting Jews all over the world with the land of Israel, empowering them and empowering Israel. With every aliyah, Israel is getting unique source of energy, of knowledge, of enriching its own tradition, broadening its own understanding what it means to be part of Jewish family. With all the pogroms, with all the tortures, with all the suffering, and the 7th of October is only the last example of these awful pogroms which are happening with us. But if you look where we were 50 years ago, where we were 100 years ago, and where we were 2,000 years ago, we see what a powerful, optimistic process it is in gathering of exiles. We are coming here as a community, we live here as a part of great family of Jewish people. Israel gives to people what many other countries cannot give, freedom and identity at the same time. I'm very optimistic about the future of Jewish people, about the state of Israel, and that is why I'm optimistic about the world. I think Nefesh has unique experience in all this process. I was very happy to be able to help them as a minister in the government, as an activist, and it's my honor to be part of this organization and to contribute to this organization.
הכבוד הוא כולו שלנו. להענקת אות זה אני מתכבדת להזמין את מר סילבן אדמס, אשר נותן את חסותו לפרס בוני ציון. Mr. Adams, please.
Rabbi Fass, Tony Gelbart, Minister Sofer, members of the committee, you do a great job picking the very best from amongst us. Worthy recipients from 2023 and 2024, and of course, past recipients. October the 7th, Black Shabbat, changed everything in Israel and for the Jewish people. Our people were savagely attacked, brutalized, tortured, raped, burned, desecrated, with 250 plus of ours taken as hostage into Gaza. October the 7th also revealed, didn't create, but revealed, a latent worldwide anti-Semitism that shocked us. As the son of Holocaust survivors, in its aftermath, the civilized world said, never again. It is again fashionable to be anti-Semitic. But Hamas got it all wrong. Its brutality revealed a strong and marvelously resistant Israel. Abroad, the haters have reunited Jews and Israelis, and dare I say, Jewish pride is back. We've overcome pogroms, the Spanish Inquisition, the Holocaust. We will stand up against this scourge of modern anti-Semitism. Israelis are winners, Jews are winners. I am a proud Zionist. As all of you fine recipients of the prestigious Bonei Zion Prize know, the purest form of Zionism is expressed with one's feet. This is our 10th edition of the Bonei Zion Prize, where we recognize the outstanding contributions of Olim from English-speaking countries. Each of you, past and present winners, has made our Israeli society better, stronger, more just, and yes, especially in these difficult days, more resilient. You are the embodiment of modern Zionism. I am proud we can honor you in this special, dignified manner. Natan Sharansky. Don't let his diminutive size fool you. He's a giant. Natan Sharansky is a force of nature. Natan, you stand tall in my eyes, and all those who know you. You are a beacon of perseverance, courage, unwavering determination, who has inspired generations of people, including U.S. presidents, all around the globe. Your journey standing up to brutal totalitarian authoritarianism is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but also a demonstration of the unbreakable bond between the Jewish people and Eretz Israel. Your efforts almost single-handedly led to the immigration of more than 1 million Soviet Jews, which profoundly and positively impacted our state. Thereafter, you worked tirelessly to integrate these new citizens in every area: economic, social, cultural, political, where this group has excelled. Natan, you continue to shine as the embodiment of Zionism. On a personal note, you've recently written a few books with my brother-in-law, Gil Troy. Additionally, you and I co-chaired an evening in Montreal honoring the great human rights champion, Erwin Kotler. Unfortunately, I wasn't in Montreal, so I sent my wife to pinch hit. We, Nefesh B'Nefesh, and I personally thank you for your lifelong contributions to the Jewish state, Medinat Israel, and the Jewish nation, Am Israel. Am Israel Chai.
תודה רבה על פועלך, מר שרנסקי. בהחלט. ברכות. ברכות לכל הזוכים. וואו, איזה אנשים מדהימים, באמת. זה כזה גורם לנו לחשוב, מה אני עושה בחיים שלי, נכון? אנשים מדהימים. אנחנו בטוחים שתמשיכו לשמש מודל לחיקוי והשראה לכלל העולים, כל אחד ואחת בתחומכם, ואנחנו מאחלים לכם הצלחה רבה בכל אשר תפנו. אני רוצה להודות לנוכחים, לכולכם, על השתתפותכם בטקס. אנחנו מזמינים אתכם להגיש מועמדים ומועמדות חדשים וחדשות לפרס בוני ציון לשנת 2025 דרך אתר הפרס. ועכשיו לביצוע מיוחד של שירת התקווה, אני שמחה להזמין לבמה את טטיאנה קוסטיאנובסקי. הקהל מתבקש לעמוד. אם יש לנו כבר רגע, אז אולי נמחא עוד פעם כפיים. לכל הזוכים, מגיע להם. תודה רבה טטיאנה, תודה רבה לכולם. נתראה בטקס הענקת פרס בוני ציון 2025. ערב טוב. אני רוצה בבקשה לקרוא לכל זוכי הפרסים לבמה בשביל תמונה משותפת. כל זוכי הפרס